All right, let's talk about the psychology of money. We're going to forget the spreadsheets, the charts, all the complicated stuff for a bit, because it turns out building wealth has way more to do with what's going on in your head than what's in your bank account. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's just start with this powerful idea from the author Morgan Housel. He says that the single most important financial skill is resisting FOMO, the fear of missing out. This one idea, seriously, it's the key to pretty much everything we're about to talk about. So let's dig into that first big idea, mastering your own mind. Look, it's not about finding the hottest new stock or perfectly timing the market. The real journey starts by learning how to just tune out all the madness around you. I mean, think about it, right? You open up social media and what do you see? Stories of people getting rich overnight with some new crypto coin or a hot tech stock. And that creates this intense pressure, this FOMO, that makes you second guess your own patient long-term plan. But giving into that hype, that's the fastest way to completely wreck your financial goals. The real asset isn't a secret stock tip, it's a calm mind. And that leads us perfectly into our next crucial point. You see, financial decisions, they aren't made in a vacuum. They're not these purely rational calculations. They're personal, they're shaped by our own unique life experiences and the different game that each of us is playing. And this quote from Daniel Kahneman, wow, it just nails it. It really gets to the heart of why people make financial choices that, to an outsider, look completely irrational. When you feel like your back is against the wall, your appetite for risk just skyrockets. And if you want proof, look no further than this number: $100 billion. That's how much Americans spend on lottery tickets every single year. And it's mostly coming from the lowest income households. From a cold, hard financial perspective, it looks absolutely insane. But here's the thing. For someone who feels trapped, maybe in a low-wage job with no clear path up, that lottery ticket isn't just a piece of paper. It represents hope. It might feel like the only tangible shot they have at a totally different life. So you see, they're not being irrational. They're just playing a different game with a different set of rules. And a huge part of understanding someone's game is acknowledging the massive role of pure, dumb luck. We all love this story of the self-made hero who just worked harder than everyone else. But you know what? That's a dangerously incomplete picture. Just think about these factors for a second. They have an unbelievable impact on your financial life, and you had zero control over any of them. Take someone like Bill Gates, an absolute genius for sure, but he also had the incredible luck of going to one of the only high schools in the entire world that had a computer back then. Realizing how much luck plays a part, it makes you a little more humble when you succeed and a lot more empathetic to people who were struggling. Okay, so you've maybe figured out how to make some money, but now comes the really hard part. I mean, it's one thing to get rich, it's a whole other ball game to stay rich. And this right here, this is the core paradox, isn't it? The skills that help you get rich, being optimistic, taking big risks, swinging for the fences, are often the complete opposite of the skills you need to stay rich, which are all about humility and a healthy dose of paranoia. So how do you do it? Well, it really comes down to these two things. First, endurance. You just have to be able to stick around long enough for the magic of compounding to do its thing. And second, you have to protect your downside. It's about survival. It's not about winning every single year. It's about making sure you never get wiped out by one catastrophic mistake that takes you out of the game for good. And if you need a real-world example, just look at this number. 99%. That's how much of Warren Buffett's mind-boggling net worth was earned after his 60th birthday. Just let that sink in for a moment. I mean, seriously? If he had retired at 60 like a normal person, you and I probably would have never even heard his name. His true genius isn't just picking the right stocks. It's his unbelievable endurance. The man's been investing for almost a century, just letting time and compounding do the heavy lifting. Time is the most powerful force in all of finance. And that leads to this beautifully simple strategy from Housel himself. You don't need to knock it out of the park every single year. You just need to avoid striking out. If you can just get average results for an unusually long period of time, you will end up with an absolutely extraordinary result. Okay, so we've talked about skills and luck and staying in the game. But why? What's the whole point of all this? And that brings us to our final and maybe most important section, redefining what it actually means to be wealthy. So first up, let's talk about being rich. Being rich is loud, it's visible, it's the fancy car, the huge house, the designer clothes. It's really about spending money to show other people that you have it. But being wealthy, that's different. Wealth is quiet. It's invisible. It's the money you haven't spent. It's the assets that are working for you in the background, buying you the single greatest thing money can buy: independence. And this is the real prize, isn't it? The highest form of wealth isn't a flashy car. It's waking up in the morning and having complete control over your day. The freedom to work on what you want when you want. The ability to just take a day off. That control over your time, that's the real dividend. Housel tells this great personal story about this. He had a mortgage with a really low interest rate, and he paid it off early. Now, on a spreadsheet, that was a terrible financial decision, right? He could have invested that money and earned a higher return. But he says it was the best money decision he ever made because the peace of mind it gave him was priceless. And that's really the heart of it. Remember this: personal finance is more personal than it is finance. The goal isn't just to have the biggest number on a spreadsheet when you die. The goal is to use money as a tool to design a life that actually makes you happy and secure. And at the end of the day, it all boils down to this: the true value of wealth isn't in the stuff it can buy. It's in the freedom it gives you to build a life that's rich with experiences and relationships. That's the real return on investment. So we'll leave you with this one question. What game are you playing? Forget about the noise, forget about what everyone else is doing. Take a minute and really define what a wealthy life means to you. Because once you know your own game, every single financial decision you make becomes so much simpler. Thanks for joining us.